What is going on, listeners? I am your host, Jonathan Yamasaki for Go Entrepreneur Yourself. We are a podcast that brings you local entrepreneurs and leaders from around the country to share their story about adversity, triumph, and their business. Investing in the stock market can be intimidating and complicated, which is why CEO and founder Ken Mooso is making it easier with PersonaFi, a soon-to-arrive, one-of-a-kind social investment platform where you can see what stocks your friends hold and trade, weekly newsletters with stock picks, and educational resources to help investors at any level. Before we understand more about PersonaFi, let's introduce our guest, Ken Mooso, to our favorite segment, the Fast Five. So the Fast Five is just an icebreaker where the audience gets to know you a little bit more. So Ken, what is your favorite food in Arizona?
Man, I'm pretty simple. So when it comes to food, so it's kind of difficult. It would be terrible to say I like McDonald's and typical fast food like Taco Bell. So I'm trying to think of something like original that's just here in Arizona.
Okay. Or favorite type of food?
Favorite type of food would be Italian. I love Italian, anything pasta, pizza, cheese. So big on Italian.
That's awesome. Next question. What is one thing you miss most since the pandemic, before the pandemic?
I think being able to go out, having to drive out to actually meet investors, meet partners before the pandemic was kind of fun and exciting.
Yeah. What were you listening to in your car before you got here?
I was listening to 101.5. Just listen to hits.
Wow, you still listen to radio?
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
And then what is your favorite curse word?
Oh, probably the F word.
Yeah.
Taking the Lord's name in vain.
Yeah. And then what is your favorite thing about being a father?
I would say just be able to cuddle next to them and make them happy, or just hearing them. I got one that's about to turn 2, hearing her say "daddy." So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Does the mom ever compete where they're gonna say mom first before dad?
Yeah, she was a little competitive where both of them said mama first.
Oh.
Yeah, but they're both daddy's girls. I mean, this is where they're very attached, to me.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that. That was the Fast Five.
Awesome.
So tell our listeners about PersonaFi. How did you get this idea for the business? So
the idea didn't come organically. It did come through trials and talking to users and testing things. So I got a finance background. I've been in the banking and financial industry for about 12 years now. And when I looked to set out this problem, or how I guess you say you identify the problem, was the people lacked confidence in wanting to get into the stock market. And this is especially applicable towards millennials, which is our demographic. Before the pandemic, there was an estimate of anywhere between 70 to 80% of millennials don't invest in the stock market. And it just kind of dumbfounded me because I've always been intrigued by it. It's a means of an equalizer to people of all social classes and all backgrounds, where anyone can be able to control their destiny. So setting out to take a stab at it, I created one application where it went through almost similar to the process of a financial advisor and how we construct a portfolio. It's you can find the same strategy in ETFs, mutual funds, and it's really about allocation. Mm-hmm. Now, when I tested it out with a few hundred people, I could easily tell they were confused. We went then an AI route, and then as we're looking at the data and talking to them, we'll go, "Hey, what do you do as far as your as part of your research when it comes to investing?" And the most common answer, almost every single person said, "I ask my friends," and I thought that was the stupidest thing ever, because I would never ask any of my friends, because this is what I do for a living.
Yeah.
So we took a step back and sat down and said, "Okay, what is the data telling us? What can we do?" And that's where PersonaFi came about, because it was all about the person. It's all about investing what they believe in, versus going to the Wells Fargos or the JP Morgans or Morgan Stanleys of the world, where they provide you a cookie cutter portfolio. You can be able to invest on your own terms the way you like. So this is where we're like, okay, well, this is going to be going about based upon a community where confidence is based upon what people are doing and what they're saying.
Mm-hmm. That's wonderful. And then what inspired you aside from like working in this industry?
Yeah, what inspired me was what I identified as a key to wealth. So everyone has their story where they came from. I guess it's a cliche where you didn't come from much. I didn't come from much. My parents they struggled to learn or understand finance, and so to me, I didn't want to be just I didn't want to go through the same struggles they had. Mm-hmm. And so I chose this career path. And the most common thing I identified for people that had wealth, and this is not making a lot of money, because people that make, there's people that make great money out there, but they're poor. Mm-hmm. They still struggle financially. But the most common denominator for people that had wealth is that they own something. They own it. That is the single that is the key to all to wealth creation is ownership.
Yeah,
it is ownership through a house, through real estate, through a small business, or through individual stocks. And so to me, it's like, okay, how can I break this? Where we break the cycles of poverty, and to me. One, I can own my own business. So I was like, I'm not going to work for someone else. And then two, I can help people find ownership through the stock market and help them break this maybe their family cycle, or get out of the challenges of their job, where right. Yeah, it's not going to get them out through maybe this year or the next year, but soon enough they will have the financial liberty of calling their own shots on their own terms, right. And be able to provide for their family and through maybe generations to come.
And I think it's important because, like you mentioned, not a lot of millennials. I mean, now there's more millennials in the stock market because of a lot of things going on social media and the news. But a lot of us weren't taught from our own families, especially like in a lot of people of color. Our generations, they don't teach us or tell us that it's good to put your money in an investment fund. They just say, put it in savings, let it sit there for an emergency.
It's kind of interesting with you saying that, put it into savings. And I feel like I think it's kind of like similar to a startup where I think they mean well. They're trying to teach you to be safe, but safety, what ultimately leads, and this is just my opinion, mm-hmm. but I feel very passionately about it. Safety ultimately yields where failure. So that's just where people that don't take risks in their life, through relationships, through jobs, or any aspect through a sports, and in this case, even the stock market and your own finances, will never achieve the true goals or their fullest potential. Failure is an absolute necessity in order to reach your max capacity and overcome the things that we really want to in life.
Right.
So when they teach us savings accounts and, going back to the firms, investment firms, they go, oh, retail investors, they shouldn't be able to do this and do this. It's like, I'm completely against that.
Yeah. And that's important. Failing. I mean, I tell a lot of where I work, I tell a lot of my students, fail as many times as you can.
Absolutely.
Because especially if you're in college, you have this cushion where if you fail, it's not going to impact your life as much as if you were fail at a report or something at the job that you're doing.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's I wish I knew this going through college. Now I dropped out of college, and hopefully there's a few kids out there that will listen to this. But failing in college is great. That's a great thing. Failing at that time of life, I know it feels like it's going to be emotionally tough and it's going to be at the end of the world, but really it's probably the best time to fail because you got that safety net. There's no real true consequences that will really follow. Yeah. I mean, I know they don't think that, and I didn't think that at the time, but really it's like it's going to be so minimal. Very minimal versus once you have car payments, you got a house and a mortgage, you got a family that depend upon you. Those consequences are very real and much more real than going, hey, my mom and dad are going to hate me and my friends are going to think I'm a loser.
Yeah. So not because we're not a video podcast, we're an audio podcast. For the time being, walk us through the app. What does it look like? And then what gave you that inspirational intentionality behind it of how people navigate through the application? Because I know you Have you released the app yet?
So not yet. So we've gone through a few different iterations, small groups of testing. Unfortunately, development's always a challenge because technology is ever changing, and two, it's difficult to find reliable coders or co-founders. But the first iteration that we developed was very similar to Venmo, where it was just kind of stock trade alerts. And we actually got good sample data from about 40 to 50 beta testers, where it was very sticky. But the user behavior was very telling, because we thought that people were more interested in the stock trade alerts, but they were more interested in kind of shopping through people's profiles. So we're like, okay, well, let's kind of build out that. So that's our current what it's currently going to look like. Now, it's only a few weeks away, so we actually had a team call this morning. So April 19th is when it's going to be released on test flight. We're thinking about 50 to 100 people per week or per period of onboarding people. It's going to look similar to Twitter, so I'll kind of tell you that.
Nice. Cool.
Plus profiles.
Yeah.
So and the reasons why we moved away from just the stock trade alerts was not only what people the behavior, but also, as you know, through our Facebook group, that and what people were constantly telling us is that, hey, they were able to observe and pick up, hey, who knows what they're doing and what they're not, who knows what they're not doing, not just by what they do, but mostly by what they say. And it's like, you know when something's wrong, but you just don't know what it is, and you know what something's kind of right, or kind of feel like something's right. So there's just something telling you. So that case, that's our next iteration of pushing that forward. A few weeks away. We should have it on the iOS store in probably about a month. So
wow,
we're excited.
And then obviously trust and confidence is important with like bringing people to this new platform and showing them, oh, this is something that it's going to work, and this is going to be the new thing that people are going to be using. What makes you all different? Because I don't know, and I want to educate listeners.
Yeah.
What makes you different from like people that join a Discord or like a private group where they're getting those text alerts, or they're getting that group of other people on that group, on that list, that are sharing their stock trades? They're sharing, kind of just having fun, talking with each other.
Yeah. So that's a really good question. So what sets us apart is that you have the unique ability to actually look and verify what people are doing. And, just through case studies of talking to our earliest adopters and users, or potential users in this case, since it's not released, was they said, hey, I was in this Discord channel where I signed up for this website, and I'm listening to this person, but I'm like, they seem like they're a pro, but I don't know what they're doing. They're saying they're buying this, or I should buy this. I'm like, but do I really, really trust this person? There's times where things fail and things work out, but I feel like I'm being led astray. And as we saw through the Reddit rebellion, the Wall Street bets, craze that just has been really taking a hold of young millennial investors, is that, okay, hey, I was holding the line for diamond hands, but am I caught holding someone else's bag?
Yeah.
So there's the verification of, hey, I put my money where my mouth is,
right? And
it's not me just holding the line by myself.
Yeah. And then, do you PersonaFi? Where did you come up with a name? That's a clever name.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah, so we kind of got lucky on the name. So we had something else. I'll even share it. People laugh all the time. It was woke investing. So because to me it was like it was all about an awakening. I thought it would resonate with younger investors. But talking to a few consultants, they begged me to change the name. They're like, hey, this is like, if this trend or this that terminology becomes no longer cool, your brand and your business will die along with it. And then one of the consultants, she was young, she was really cool, very easygoing. She says, hey, just find two words and try to mingle it together, or it means something. So my whole thing was always like about the person and, investing the way that represents them. So I feel like it was inspiration. I got lucky at the same time, where I took personal finance and said, okay, well, following her advice, I got PersonaFi. So I was like, okay, let's do that. And then I immediately text her, hey, what do you think of this? Boom. Like, she's like, hey, that's it. It's like, go with that. That's the name.
Yeah.
And I even shouted to a marketing consulting firm. Now, they were extremely expensive. They were playing a little bit tight-lipped with me, but I could tell that they loved it. So I was like, okay, that's officially, here's the name. And I think we changed the name sometime late 2019.
Yeah. It sounds very clean. It rolls off the tongue easily.
Yeah.
And I definitely understand woke investment. Like, think about it where you're looking at like people still doing the dap. It'll be that kind of feeling like, oh, they still use that?
Yeah. It's like, what is he doing? That's so last year.
And then because I haven't heard of anything else like this, do you have any competition? Is there anything else like that like this out here?
Yeah, there are a few applications, so I won't name their names just for means of not advertising them. So what's so surprising, and hopefully this reaches potential investors, because we're certainly currently trying to raise around. We've caught eyes of other competitors that have raised millions of dollars, and we've been able to move faster. We're going to move faster than them. We've got hacks. We got, in fact, one of them has probably raised about 10 million, and it's like they're actually behind us in a few iterations. So in fact, I don't know what their user count is, but I suspect we have more users on our waiting list than they have actually using their application. So it's a means of us actually just releasing, and in a few months we'll be able to surpass them. So this is just where, we're hitting the ground running. We're trying to raise some capital. We're not looking to raise exactly millions of dollars, but I feel confident that due to our speed of execution, that we should be able to overcome them.
Right. How did you fund this in the beginning? I'm assuming maybe you some of your money from your pocket?
Yeah. So it's a combination of friends and family and through also my own pocket. So I was lucky enough where I made good money when I was working at Merrill Lynch. So I had a good amount of savings. Some of that savings has definitely been exhausted. And then I owned a second house. And so I sold that, and that's been getting me by as well. And then also through just the monetization, as you know, through the newsletter that we have for our Facebook group, was also something that's been also helping pay for development, pay for attorney fees, pay for marketing and graphics designers. So that's been a huge blessing for us as well.
Yeah. And then I want to kind of give our audience a little background about the Facebook group.
Yeah.
So it's Let's Trade and Invest Together.
Yeah.
When I first joined, I think there was only like less than 1,000.
Yeah, it was
when
probably
I first
a few
joined.
hundred. Yeah.
And then and I heard it from a friend who had another friend that was on there who I was good friends with, and they kind of just shared with me, oh, check it out. This is a cool platform if you're like interested in learning about the stock market and just chatting with friends. And they're really nice. It's not like, like Reddit forums or anything like that.
Oh, yeah. I hear you.
So then I decided to give it a try, and then that's when I saw like this thing where it's a group who's actually like getting all these people to rally together to show that anyone can invest. So how did you all go from increasing from 1,000 to now like 14,000 followers? How did you get that rally behind you?
Yeah, so this is just where a part of it was the community vibe and, really helping them. I think also a lot of it came, a competitive edge was because of our background in finance. This is where, as you know, me, Chris, and Dan, who help run the group, given that we've worked at firms like Merrill Lynch, Charles Schwab, and Vanguard, and have real expertise in this. So this is not like we're smarter than everyone, but you see some of the social media influencers and other people that run groups, they've read a good books, but they've never been behind on the other side of the screen. They've never actually managed people's monies or traded. So their knowledge is limited. This is where I've probably handled more transactions in probably a few weeks than they probably had their entire life of their own portfolio. So this is where that being able to go, no, well, you kind of understand and balance out the rationale a little bit better than other people, I think, was able to attract more people going, hey, yeah, because I was told this. And I'm like, yeah, that's kind of true, but kind of not. And this is the reason why. And just, I think people saw the results, not only from what we're saying, but also applying our knowledge was very helpful. And then I think lastly too, we do have a few growth hacks. This is where we do believe, and I feel this in strong about this, that once we release this app after May, before the end of the year, I do believe we'll have a few 100,000 people on the application, and even maybe even 1 million users. We have a few growth hacks that are incredibly potent. Just it is so effective. It'll make you fall out of your seat. So it's that killer where I could within just this morning, I just 30 minutes, I was able to put an extra 100 people into our Facebook group. So we've kind of been chilling out on it. Now we're getting ready to ramp things up. Just watch. We'll put easily 20,000 people into. Another 6,000 people in the group before the end of this month.
Yeah, and then feel free to share whatever you'd like on the podcast. But what do you mean by growth hacks? If you can't explain what exactly you're doing, maybe giving some sort of idea for those that are also wanting to maybe build a following.
Yeah. So just, if there's anyone that's looking to start a business or to get into a tech startup like myself, or even angel investors that are listening, they understand that in order to start a business, you got to have a competitive advantage, and it really make yourself defensible. And one of the mechanisms that you can make yourself defensible against competitors is be able to outgrow them. So you got to find out means to grow faster where it relies either on little or no capital. So this growth hack, in other words, is that we got 3. Where one of them, it just makes me laugh to even think about it. We do a few things, and I won't say what it is, just for the sake of us maintaining this edge over our competitors. But we could literally just go, and within 30 minutes, we could, just one person alone just doing this could put a few hundred people into our Facebook group. Very little effort. It's so funny. It's bad. It's really bad. And we're literally about to put 10 people to start doing this over the next few days and few weeks. So we're actually having a team meeting going, okay, let's turn on the growth again.
Is it as ridiculous as, so I don't know if you know about like Airbnb startup, but they actually invested their money, or they got money originally to start the business from selling Obama O's, cereals from like during the campaign. So is it something as ridiculous as that, or is it just...
I would say it's yes and no. So the Obama O's and Captain McCain's were a means of survival. I definitely applaud the founders of Airbnb. God, it's like just hearing the stories gave me like ulcers, just because it was like they're near death like a billion times. I mean, just like most startups. But with ours, it's not a means of survival. It's a means of to grow. So this is where we're not on the defense, but this is our offense, and our good offense just happens to be part of a defense.
I still think it's just amazing how from the newsletter and having your website up that people are buying, people are seeing, kind of feeling the FOMO, fear of missing out on what they can gain from hearing other people's stock picks, and then what's in your mind. So how did you gain this credibility, getting these people to buy into the newsletter and then to trust you and your advice? Yeah,
the newsletter was inspired out of just really a need. This is where, as you kind of mentioned on here, we got about 14,000 members within the group. But once we got, even before we got to 1,000 people, actually, I think we were a few thousand people at that point. It was just too much. Where I'd wake up, 6:30 in the morning. I got about 20 to 50 different messages, and then 100 people are tagging me as far as for help. And I spend my whole day just answering those questions. Now, answering those questions was a huge help, because that's what people go, this guy, he's worked as a pro, and they're inviting their friends. They're nice, which is also great. And then it was to the point where I'm like, I can barely even research my own stocks. I can barely even keep an eye on my own portfolio. So this is where, let's just spill it out, all my ideas out through a newsletter. And because I'm spending, I spent, just last weekend, I spent about 8 hours, maybe 8 to 9 hours total on it. Just research. That's just the research part.
Yeah.
And so this is where I spend a whole day now as part of my process. In that case, it makes me work a little bit more effectively. And this is where it's helping us help more people. So that's the great thing about it.
I think that's brilliant. You kind of find another way to. I think the entrepreneurs are constantly trying to find other ways to monetize their business and try to like help any way they can. So for an aspiring entrepreneur in, let's say here in Phoenix, just to keep it local for now, what can they do if they have an idea for a tech startup? Where can they go to maybe reach out to angel investors if they don't have that connection?
Yeah, the best thing to do is not to reach out to angel investors. You'll believe that the best thing to do is really to do it. I mean, just like the name of this podcast, people, it's so easy for people just to talk about their ideas and never do it. And that's what's going to separate you from the others. And that's what's going to attract, money will hopefully, we haven't been great at fundraising, but this is where we've been able to raise some money from friends and family because of our execution. We got accepted into an incubator and accelerator program, which is also helpful.
Nice.
So, but the best thing to do is to think about, and you can definitely do this. There's a free way to create your app and figure a way to do it. So our app, instead of me paying coders tens of thousands of dollars to develop it, our proof of concept was our Facebook group. Are people willing to share their trades? And the fact, at first, when we had the first few hundred, it was absolute. People were posting their trades. People were talking about it. People were, what was considered taboo was just displayed out in the open. So we were like, okay, well, we validated that, and now we proved it. There's no doubt behind it. Now our monetization we've also proved as well, which is also great. So it's all about validating, and this is where angel investors, when they look at you, they always say, and we heard this on Shark Tank, they look at the founders, they look at the team. They want to judge you about how witty you are and how much grit you have, and they're going to see your story through your execution. Like, what did he do? And if you're witty enough and savvy enough to create means of creating your product where there's a free version, then that's great. And going back to the Airbnb example, it was a crappy website. They met with the people there and exchanged the keys in person. Yeah, and for cash. It was there was nothing sexy or cool about that. It was very, very low tech, and it was air mattresses. But they validated it. It was like, are people willing to share their house and for money, and are people are willing to rent a stranger's bedroom or house for free? And they proved it, and that's that is the product.
That's incredible that you mentioned that. And now that I think about it, it is taboo. You talk to people and, what are you trading? What are you investing in? And they don't really like to share that information. But for people who are maybe hesitant, like, are you trying to reach out to everyone, where people who are maybe a lot older, who don't like to share that information? How do you like market to one like that? Because I feel like millennials maybe will feel more open to that than Gen Z, but
older generations are definitely apprehensive about sharing that information. In fact, it was this is something that was super, super annoying. I actually literally had someone sign up for the beta, knows what the product is, and he was like, I don't want to share my information. I'm like, well, why the fuck did you sign up for it? Dude, he was some damn boomer. I'm like, dude, get the fuck out of here. Yeah. Like, you wasting my fucking time. And like, with a limited spot. So boomers are definitely apprehensive to that. And this is where it's a generational thing.
Yeah.
Another funny story I'll even say is that there was a marketing consultant that wanted my business and to help me. And of course, she generates money from it. And she was a boomer too. And when I told her my business, she was laughing. She was like, "What? People share that?" And it was like, obviously that relationship didn't work out. Yeah. Like, yeah, it was like, if you don't believe my product, then I'm not going to hire you.
Right. Yeah. And I think things are changing because, I mean, back then, like even now, you go to apply to different companies, and some of them right off the bat, they share the salary, because it's like, why not be transparent now? Like, let people know what they're getting into.
I never understood why it was taboo. I can understand from a security standpoint, and I don't want to get into that just because I don't want to give listeners an idea. Things you learn as far as tricks from working the bank side, but really, I never understood. I'm like, okay, well, if I buy say McDonald's stock or Walmart, it's like I don't care. It's like we brag about the cars we buy, we brag about the house, the shoes, where we shop. I'm like, why is this any different? In fact, this is something you should brag about. This is cool. This is ownership. This is all about our mindset. And what social media is about is that people love to brag about themselves becoming better, especially becoming better.
Yeah.
This is something that we should be able to share, and it's a great positivity to social media, which social media is definitely in the need of more positivity.
Mm-hmm. And then because to me, this sounds like the beginning of a popular new sort of social media wave. Like this sounds like something that could really pop off with our generations. How much traffic can someone gain from a similar platform?
I'm not sure if I understand the question. Yeah. So are you meaning as far as like one user, how much like followers they can be able to grab, or are you talking about like
not the user, your platform? Like if someone was to create something like this, what's that potential? I know you mentioned earlier, we can probably get thousands.
Yeah. So this year, to kind of go back on that, we do believe, that we'll be able to hit hundreds of thousands of users onto the application. And then we do believe that there is a total addressable market of about 60 million people. Now, we're not going to grab all of that. That's just here within the U.S. We are expanding into by other means, because this is where angel investors and VCs, they want to be able to target. They want to see that there's other means to tap into other markets and make sure that you're a unicorn. So that means they're going to make them turn it into a multi-billion-dollar company. So I don't want to get into that too much to give away, but we have already other features already built out that and are being built out to be able to help us tap into a larger demographic. But we do want to have about tens of millions of users within as little as 3 years.
And then aside from the Facebook group, I was hearing that you were reaching out to like a marketing expert to help you reach out to more people. Now, are you doing that to reach out to more investors, or are you doing that to reach out to like audiences?
Yeah, more users. So this is where we are monetizing already. One thing that sucks about being here in Arizona is just the incredible disadvantage you have. And so this is hopefully, if people are listening to here in Arizona, I know that there's people that will disagree with me, but I can tell you from experience and from talking to other founders, nothing's further from the truth. If you don't live in California or major tech hubs or cities like Denver or Chicago or Austin's, growing right now, and Miami's growing as well, you are at a major, major disadvantage. This is an insider's game. This is a game of who you know. 80% of startup money comes from San Francisco, and about half of that is sent to startups just within their Bay Area. So there's no way that you can say 20 square miles, or whatever it is, the size of that city makes up half of the great ideas. So nonetheless, you're going to have to figure out how to network and really prove yourself. So we're trying to prove ourselves through execution versus trying to grow. And that goes back to my frustration. It's like, how are these competitors able to raise millions and millions of dollars where, they're literally going to be behind us in a few months? We got the app done. This is where I can't show it to you now, but we were playing around with it this morning. It's actual code. You can even call it maybe an alpha at this point. So
what?
An alpha. So alpha means just internal testing.
Yeah. Okay.
Then we're going to go to the beta, and then this is where we're about to release it to the masses. So in just a few months.
I can see the entrepreneur spirit in you, obviously through doing this business and even before. I want to ask questions now about like your leadership, but also like your getting more into the giving tips to like aspiring entrepreneurs or people students that are in college wanting to start their own business. What entrepreneurial hacks have you developed to stay focused and productive in your day-to-day?
I think writing out your schedule. So it's very, very easy to get off task. This is where I can easily get distracted as far as emails or phone calls or a customer problem or this extra project I wanted to do. But having your day planned out ahead of time is certainly helpful. Having a calendar that you can go to and sticking to it. This is where I probably need to even improve on this. But I would highly recommend having a calendar that's written out, and you write down, okay, 7:00 workout, 8:00 breakfast, 10:00 call this person, 11:00 I work on this, and devote that time only to that. Now, this is, of course, you don't have to stick to it, but you will see that your execution is far greater when you're doing that versus you sitting down at your computer or your desk or wherever it is that you work and think that you're going to wing it. You're going to wing it, and before you know it, your idea is changing, your tasks are changing, and you never actually have any direction. So that's certainly one thing. And then I would say the next thing is just being a doer. I mean, there's so I hate to sound like I'm pessimistic towards people, but there's so many talkers and not enough doers.
Yeah.
I've met so many people, and they talk and they talk, and it's like, God, it's like by the time you were done talking, you've got to accomplish all this, and this is like, months go by. Now, it's easier said than done, but being a doer versus a talker is another big thing.
When the odds are stacked against you, like, how do you overcome these challenges? Maybe you could even give us examples from when you were working with PersonaFi.
That is, yeah, I can probably give 100. I would say it's going to be part of the process of becoming an entrepreneur, is being tested, and where everything's stacked against you. Things are always going to be stacked against you, so it's never going to let up. And I like to use this analogy often, is you think about when Cortez, he first came to the Americas, and instead of, the first thing he did is he had all of his men get off the ship, and they sunk the ship. Mm-hmm. Because there's only one way to win. And to me, I'm a true believer in that. Now, I'm not saying for kids that are in school to drop out of school or burn all your bridges.
Yeah.
No, but by no means. But you have to be 100% in. There's no such thing as 99 or 90%. Those people that have safety nets and go, hey, have this plan B, if you will, that's outside of the business. Not plan B for your business, but plan B outside of the business, whether it's like, hey, well, I got my day job. You're hedging against yourself, and people that hedge against themselves and their business ultimately fail. Now there are certainly exceptions to that, but for a person that wants to get into a startup, especially a startup, and I've seen this with so many other people that are doing startups, is that when they hedge against themselves, they have something to fall back upon, where they're doing part-time school part-time, or doing their business part-time, or doing something, just anything where they're only working on it full part-time. Mm-hmm. There are going to be times where, like, you have fights with your partners, investors pull out, you have a major problem, someone's suing you. There's something to that nature, and it is going to be super easy for you to go, I quit. I'm going to take a week off. Or I'm going to take a day off and step aside. Versus, I'm in a spot where it's do or die. So it's like, to me, it's like kill or be killed. I have to do this.
Yeah, and I think that happened a lot during the pandemic. There was great businesses that were starting up and doing things during that time. I've met a lot of friends that I have that started a little side hustle, and now they're making it into a full-time thing. Yeah. So I think that's great advice, just giving your 100% on something that you really want to pursue.
Yeah. Now a side hustle, I would like to say, is different. So side hustle, there are certainly businesses that can be, and I would certainly recommend part-time because they can grow organically. There's no need to take that risk. Right. But I'm speaking very specifically towards like tech startups. Yeah. So because tech startups, like we're doing with PersonaFi, it requires there's just even 40 hours, you can accomplish so little because it's like you're learning so much. I mean, like I didn't know how to run payroll or HR. Now I'm having to learn it. I didn't know how to draft documents and what documents I needed for employees or investors. And so it requires a lot of your time sitting down and learning all this, or PowerPoint and so other applications to make just the operational side function.
And then maybe a lot of people, especially young entrepreneurs, people think that it's really sexy being an entrepreneur. What's the real and raw truths about it that make it very difficult, where a lot of people fail?
Yeah, I think it's just people get caught up in the glamour. It's, to me, it's my whole life philosophy was try to be mediocre and try to skate by. I know that sounds like very odd, but I even wrote a college paper on that. I just want to skate by in life, and then I realized there's no such thing as skating by. So to me, I was never attracted to glamour or fame. I don't care for that. So to me, I just want to be left alone. It's just my whole philosophy. So like, to get good enough grades, just to so the teacher or your parents leave you alone. Just do just good enough jobs, and my boss leaves me alone. But it was just exactly that, is that you go work for a corporation, they never leave you alone. Just Joe Rogan, I'm sure, like I don't know if you listen to his podcast, but it was just so great. And I don't watch, a lot of podcasts, but someone shared it with me where he says like the best day is when they're on the shitter and they're on their cell phone. And I was like, God damn, that's so right. It's like, God, my and
questioning life's problems.
Hopefully you don't mind me swearing.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
But God, it was like I was a top producer at my firm, and they're always bugging me about this and this, and I'm like, what the fuck are we doing here? It's like you could do literally a perfect job, but the whole business, the corporate mindset is like, what can we improve on? And if there's nothing to improve on, they will find something. They will even make something up to improve on. They will literally make something up. They will. Your middle management corporations waste so much money on middle management. They call themselves babysitters because they are. They have nothing to do. Mm-hmm. And for job security, they're making things to do. They're trying to get on you about something, because a lot of these managers or bosses, that's what they are. They're not leaders, they're bosses. So they will make something up. They will fire. Unfortunately, it does come to people being fired for what I believe is nothing. So what attracted me, going back to your original question, to doing this was the fact of being left alone. I was never attracted to glamour, but it is emotionally and mentally by far, probably the most difficult thing a human being could ever do. I certainly wouldn't recommend it. And I certainly wouldn't recommend it alone. And I think that, there are mornings and days and nights where I can't sleep. There are mornings I don't want to get up. It's like, I don't want to look at the stock market. I don't want to, talk to this person, about this, or, text this person to follow up on this, because you're at a lot of times you're looking at, especially my situation, you're looking at death. You're looking at the failure of your business, and your business. It's like you are the sole person that's responsible for it living or dying every single day. So that's the reality of your day, is that you're constantly in a lot of times survival mode, or what feels like survival mode.
Yeah. Do you get sleep?
I did last night, so I do get. I get sometimes there's great days or great weeks, and sometimes there's bad weeks and bad days. But yeah, it's sometimes it's like I can't sleep. Mostly just because I'm trying to figure out this one problem, and it's bugging me. I'm like, that's what's going to make you better, is because you're in survival mode. Survival instincts kick in, and you start thinking about things that you wouldn't had you had that plan B. Once again, not plan B for the business, but plan B outside of the business to fall back upon. But being in survival mode is crucial for your business to always have that mentality.
Yeah, and if you can travel to day one of your startup and have 15 minutes just to have a conversation with yourself, and all the lessons you've acquired to this day, you're able to kind of tell yourself about those lessons to save you the heartache.
Yeah.
What would that be?
I think I would there's a few times where I spent money specifically on development, and I think I would just go, hey, just don't spend that money. There's cheaper ways to do it. That's probably the only thing. But I do believe that, just like as we kind of talked about earlier, that failures it's imperative for us to grow. I think that there's nothing else besides that I would really change. I've made tons and tons of mistakes, but it was necessary for me to grow and kind of get to where we're at in almost every aspect.
Now we're getting close to the end, but I wanted to ask, what piece of advice would you give current college students or college graduates that are wanting to become entrepreneurs?
Yeah, definitely do it. Make sure that's something you're passionate about. Passion has to be there. So because people that do things, I'm a total believer that people that work for money, that do things for, and it goes back to even to glamour, they will ultimately fail or quit, or most likely fail or quit. People that do it because they love it, they would do it for free. To me, I could trade every single day in the stock market, talk stock market all day, every day. It's like my football. So people have their football, they have their X amount of months. My season's 24, goes all year round. So,
yeah.
So that to me is like, I love talking shop, and it's a passion. I don't do it for the money. I don't do it for the glamour or the fame. I do it for the love of it. If you have something like that, whether it's even something simple like maybe video games or cooking, you can make a ton of money. And this is where you shouldn't seek money. Seek passions. Money will follow. That's I would say my number one advice for college students. So.
Thank you. And then, do you have any mentors or people that you look up to that have maybe guided you or helped you through this process?
Yeah, so I've had a few people help me. So we have a few advisors on our board. It's a board of advisors that are helping us out. They're making introductions. They give us tips. They help us out. And there's actually 2 serial entrepreneurs that I would consider them as advisors, even though they're not technically on our board of advisors. I definitely have learned a lot from them. They've given me like key advice during key moments. So maybe that's another thing. If you're an entrepreneur, find someone that's doing something similar or within that field and asking them. They'll do it for free. You will be surprised how much free advice there is. Anyone that wants something immediately in return is not an advisor and someone that you should run away from. That's another thing. So, but people that are already doing it is definitely people that you want to be around.
So then would you say find your team and then build an advisory board?
I think they'll not even find your team. I think just really even cutting that out before. So this is where the last thing you want to do is try to, at least in my opinion, is talk people into doing this. I apply this with my advisors. I've done this with my entire team. It's where you're in a position of power, where you have something they want. So So all of our employees, for example, have joined our team after some of them asking us for over several months, some of them just a few weeks. But this is where I was looking to see, okay, who's the person when the things get tough, where everything goes wrong, that's going to be there, be there and I can count on. So I would say don't build your team first, but just start doing it and start building it, because people get attracted to success. People want to jump on the rocket when it's about to take off, not on the story. At least selling them on the vision.
Right, that's true. I think that's a good point. I haven't heard of that before. Yeah, and it's like a trap. You don't want to get them just on the success piece of it. You want to let them know where help with.
Yeah, so even give you another example. So I got two coders that are PhD candidates from Purdue. So if you guys don't, Purdue's a great school. It's actually ranked right next to Harvard on as far as their computer science program. Oh, wow. But I was able to attract such incredible talent because I had built already a massive following, a Facebook group. We'd built some revenue. We got some business partnerships. If you're a person that's looking to go into a tech startup, the chances you're not going to be, you go talk to these guys that work at Amazon, Microsoft, the quality coders that you want on your team. They get approached with hundreds and hundreds of different ideas, but they will be attracted to you above anyone else by what you do, People, they want to jump on something that's ready to take off, not something they have to build up from the ground up. That's the unfortunate thing about people. So you got to be in a better position where it's almost like they need you more than you need them.
Yeah, that's true. Is there any books or resources that potential entrepreneurs could look into?
Yeah, and I'm going to speak specifically just to applicable towards tech startups. To me, I'm not a big fan of life coaches. I think, life coaches are, and I don't want it to sound harsh, but it's a great way to kind of encourage people without doing, because people love to talk and not do. Not saying that that's true about all life coaches, but I'm a big fan of like Gary Vee. I like Gary Vee. I think people get lost in his message and thinking he always talks about grinding or 9 to 5. I think he has a true message of happiness. Like, dude, if you're happy working your 9 to 5, stick with your 9 to 5. So that's one person I like. Another resource is Y Combinator. So it sounds like you're familiar with them. Their YouTube channel, Paul Graham's essays, are amazing. A great, valuable resource that I think will help you get in the understanding and the mindset of someone that's in the tech startup. And the third one is the book, The Lean Startup. So so have you read that?
No, but I've heard of it. Like the episode before you, he was in Forbes 30 under 30 for education.
Okay.
And he also is all about lean. That's what we talked about in the podcast.
Wow.
How to make processes a lot more efficient and less costly for his business.
Yeah, I'm sorry to say, sad to say this, I haven't read the book, but I'm starting to. So I got an introduction to the author, Eric Ries. So, in fact, I'm actually meeting with him tomorrow to pitch him our startup. So hopefully, cross our fingers, awesome. we can have that, because having his name behind us would be incredible.
Wonderful. Well, that looks like that ends it there. Thank you so much, Ken, for coming on to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, wish you the best of luck on this business, and I'm excited, hopefully, to bring you on in the near future to see where it's at.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.